over the past couple of weeks, we've been bringing you, Jets Nation, some of the top mock drafts from around the league and getting some insight from analysts on who they think the Jets are going to be picking in the 2021 NFL Draft. However, it's now time for our very own Jets 360 mock draft. And in order to do that, we're going to have to bring back Anthony Becht, Erik Coleman, and of course EA. We're going to get everybody's insight. And guys, we're going to have our own little mock draft right here. 3 rounds for the New York Jets. And we're going to start off with that number 2 overall pick. We can't go with anybody other than Zach Wilson, that quarterback, Ethan. He's a popular name that we've been seeing around a lot of mock drafts. But why is he so popular?
Well, first, it is nearly impossible to find a mock draft that does not have Zach Wilson and the Jets at number 2. And you look at what he did in 2020. He had a meteoric rise from 2019 to 2020, similar to what we saw from Joe Burrow a year ago for the LSU Tigers. I'm not comparing Joe Burrow and Zach Wilson as players, but you look at what Zach Wilson did. He threw 33 touchdown passes, just 3 interceptions, and the arm talent, you can't really question that. And like EA mentioned earlier, a lot of people think that Zach Wilson would be a good fit for the Shanahan system. So, Anthony, what do you make of the Zach Wilson pick to the Jets?
I'm on board. I mean, listen, you watch his film, there's a lot of skill set that you like because of the fact that, you know, he's just got a tremendous amount of moxie in the pocket. Tight window throws, a bit of a gunslinger, takes chances, gives his receivers and tight ends opportunities to make plays. And he also puts the ball in a spot where they're the guys that can make the plays, not the defenders, which is a good thing.
6'2", 214 pounds at BYU's Pro Day. Zach Wilson completed 74% of his passes last season. Ethan mentioned the 33 touchdown passes. What I like is he protected the football, just the 3 interceptions. He also scored 10 times on the ground. Anthony talked about Zach Wilson's ability off platform. It's very rare. He's got a twitchy arm. That's what the scouts say about him. That ball gets there in a hurry. The other thing I like, Erik Coleman, this kid's got swag. He brings that headband on. He's got a relentless work ethic. He loves football. Coming from Utah to New York, that'd be quite a story.
Absolutely. And I love the confidence. That it spreads. It's contagious around the locker room. When you have your leader of your team with the confidence, with the swagger. And when you watch Zach Wilson, the first thing you think of is gunslinger, like Anthony mentioned. He has a strong arm. He's very accurate. He's athletic. But when you see his numbers, it shows you more of a pocket passer, more accurate. 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It shows that he makes the right decisions, takes care of the football, and puts his team in position to win. That's what the Jets need moving forward. So I'm excited about this pick at number 2.
There you have it. Jets 360 is going to choose quarterback Zach Wilson for our number 2 overall pick. But remember, he's not the only that's not the only pick that the Jets have in the first round. They also have that number 23 overall pick. So let's jump to there. A few popular names as we've been looking at some of these mock drafts over the last few weeks. We've been seeing a couple of these names pop up that could be potential players who could possibly be available at that number 23 overall spot. Ethan, who are you going to take?
All right, well, I'm teaming up with Anthony here, and when I look at the slate that we have here, I'm zeroing in on the last guy, Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, the edge rusher. And I think a lot of Jets fans will think, well, the Jets signed Carl Lawson, they signed Vinny Curry, they have a good defensive line, why would you add him? Well, we know that Coach Saleh and Coach Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, they want to build up front. And Azeez Ojulari led the SEC in tackles for loss and sacks. He's only 6'2", but he has the wingspan and arm length of someone who's 6'5", so he does have length. He's just 20 years old as well, so why not add some youth to that pass rush, Anthony?
Well, listen, I'm going to have to make a real good argument here. As much as I like that potential pick, I also know that he's better formed for a 3-4 defense, a standout outside linebacker that can pass rush and do some other things from an athletic standpoint. I'm going to go with Landon Dickerson. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, a lineman, 23 pick, but you know what? If you think about Joe Douglas, if you were to wrap up everything Joe Douglas is all about as far as building an offensive line and build it around a player and put his name on it, it'd be Landon Dickerson. He's big, he's strong, he's fierce. The guy loves the game of football. Again, there are a couple knocks on him. Now, it's medical. 16, 17, 18 at Florida State. He was limited each year with injury. And again, at the end of last season, got an ACL. So where is he medically? That's something the Jets have to do their homework on. But for me, When you can bring a guy in that's going to smash mouth, grind, and move people, that's going to be key. And I think Dickerson's the guy for the Jets at 23.
All right, Anthony, you sold me. Let's go with Landon Dickerson. But here's the thing. I want to say a couple things. First off, Landon Dickerson at Florida State and Alabama combined, he's made at least one start at each of the 5 positions on the O-line. We know Joe Douglas likes versatility in his offensive linemen, and I'm thinking back to when the Jets had a rookie quarterback in 2009. That offensive line was pretty good. We had Mike Tannenbaum on the podcast, and he said, you better beef up the O-line. Let's go with Dickerson. And actually, Anthony, Jets Nation is thinking the same way that you are, because we took to Twitter an offensive line at pick 23. 63.9% of fans wanted to see an offensive lineman at 23. Ooh. And edge, I will say, just 4.3%. So clearly I'm in the minority here. Olivia, Anthony, and I are turning in the card. Landon Dickerson is the pick for the Jets 360 mock draft at pick 23.
All right, there you have it. At the pick number 23, we got Landon Dickerson, that offensive lineman, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed that you got Jets Nation input there. So Jets Nation, thank you for helping us pick that one. All right, moving on to the second round. We're going to toss this one to Erik, Coleman, and EA now. We've got that number 34 overall pick. Now, a couple of hot names that we've been discussing over the last few weeks in some of these other mock drafts that we've seen from analysts around the league. These are the names that we have to pick from. EC, I'm going to go to you first. Who are you taking at number 34 overall for the New York Jets?
Well, you know, when you look at the needs of the Jets, obviously, pick 2, you got a quarterback. Pick 23, we got an offensive lineman. Now, we need to address the cornerback situation, and I like ASANTE Samuel Jr. He has NFL pedigree. His father played for many years. He troubled the Jets with his interceptions, his pick sixes. His son has great technique as well. He's very athletic. He's strong. He's physical. He plays with great zone eyes, which would fit well with his defense.
I am a huge Rondale Moore fan. 5'7", but listen to these physical traits. He's not sub 4'4", he's sub 4'3". He also had a vertical of 42.5 inches. His freshman year, Rondale Moore against Ohio State, 12 catches, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a receiver who is also a returner. You also can use him with jet sweeps. You can line him up in the backfield, and the Jets are drafting a young quarterback, so they have to put explosive, dynamic playmakers around a young quarterback. The Jets are selecting at 34 here. Rondale Moore is definitely one of the top 34 players in this draft class, fellas and Liv. There is no doubt about that, but with all that being said, I like your selection of ASANTE Samuel Jr. I think he'd be a good fit, and the thing that stands out to me about Samuel is the ball production. You hear about a lot of cornerbacks who have very good physical traits, but they don't get to the ball. Samuel takes it away, and he knocks it down.
So finally,
Absolutely.
We're turning in that card. Correct, fellas? We're turning in that card. And for the Jets 360 mock draft, for that number 34 overall pick, we're going with cornerback ASANTE Samuel Jr. That's 2 rounds. We got 2 rounds under the books now. Let's move on to the third round. The Jets have 2 picks, that number 66 overall pick, the number 86 overall pick. We're going to stay here with EA and EC. EA, again, let's look at some of this big list of names that we've kind of been going over the last few weeks that some NFL analysts have thought could be potential players that could possibly be available there for the Jets when they hit that third round. But when you're looking at this number 66 overall pick, EA, who are you going with?
Yeah, Liv, last week I sat here inside the BetMGM studio, and Robert Saleh was about 6 feet away from me, and he said, you can never have enough quality defensive linemen. The guy who stands out to me here kind of goes under the radar, comes from Houston, and his name is Peyton Turner. 5 games last year, 10.5 tackles for loss. So that's multiple tackles for loss per game, 5 sacks, and he's got great length and production. He gets to the quarterback. So for me, I'm leaning in the direction of Peyton Turner from Houston. People talk about the edge rushers. I kind of think that he slipped under the radar a little bit.
What about you, EC?
I agree with EA. You know, I mean, he's a very athletic guy, freakish size and strength. and a great addition to any defense. But I'm going to have to go on the other side of the ball, back to offensive line, and go with Brady Christensen from BYU. Why not pick the guy who protects Zach Wilson's backside? He's strong, he's physical, he's athletic. He's a first-team AP All-American. This guy is tough as nails. He can play that right tackle opposite Mekhi Becton and create that good pocket, give those running lanes in the run game because he is such a physical presence.
All right, fellas. Now, listen, this isn't...
Liv, I'm just going to say here right now, we're turning in the card. It is Peyton Turner, edge from Houston. Let me leave you with this right here. NFL.com had a scouting report on Turner. In their write-up, they had an AFC scouting director who said the following: I wanted to keep him a secret after I saw him last year, and that didn't happen. He's going to become a force. Well, in the Jets 360 mock draft, he's going to be a force for the green and white.
Let's do it.
EA seems very passionate about Peyton Turner, so we're going to turn the card in with him. That's it. The deal is done. We've got an edge coming in at that number 66 overall pick. But we're not done. We've got, like I already mentioned, 3-round mock draft. Our final pick here in the 3rd round, this number 86 overall pick. We're going to take it back now to Anthony Becht and Ethan. Guys, take a look at this long list of names. Like we already said, we've been looking over some of these names. We've mentioned a couple of these guys. But if you had to pick out of some of these players, who are you going with, Anthony?
All right, listen, I'm not going to make this easy for you, Ethan. I'm going to sell this guy hard. PAULSON, ADEBO, cornerback. Another cornerback, you say? Absolutely take another cornerback. Why? 6'1", 190 pounds, long, can extend, excellent vertical jump, ran a 4.4 40. His 3-cone drill, elite, 6'9", and he's got huge hands, 10-inch hands for this young man, and he's only 21 years old. In 2018 and 19, he was first-team All-Pac-12. He led the nation in 2018 with 24 passes defended with 4 INTs.
All right, well, first of all, you didn't make it easy, but I'm not rolling over. I'm fighting back, Anthony, so you better be prepared. And one thing on ADEBO, I will say, Coach Saleh did have success with a long-limb Stanford corner in both Seattle and San Francisco in Richard Sherman. So, all right, hear me out here, Anthony. I'm looking at the Jets 360 mock draft. I'm thinking, where's the offense outside of quarterback? Where's the playmaking? And at pick 86, I think that the Jets could get good value in Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis. So hear me out here. He also opted out of 2020, but in 2019, he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards. He was the only FBS player with 1,000 rushing yards and 500 receiving yards, 16 total touchdowns. He only played 1 year, so I think there's some question marks there, but he has experience out wide and in the backfield. I think that Coach Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator, could utilize him in many ways. And also at his pro day, 4.44 40-yard dash. So I would pick Kenneth Gainwell, especially when you look at the landscape of the Jets 360 mock draft. But the ultimate decision is up to you, Anthony.
You guys got to turn
You know
in the
what?
card.
I agree. You got me sold there. I'm going with it. You know why? 2 things you said. 1, he's an instant playmaker. And 2, he can stay on the field on all 3 downs. Hey, let's lock him in, man. I love it.
Well, I like this. A little bit of back and forth, some give and take. I would say that that was a pretty fair shakedown right there.
Teamwork makes the dream work, Liv.
Well, now that we've turned in all of our cards, let's take a look at our 3-round Jets 360 mock draft. We get a little bit of everything in this mock draft. Some offensive side of the ball, some defensive side of the ball, and it addresses a lot of Jets needs.
I think Jets fans would be very happy with this mock draft, especially just positionally.
Yeah.
You know, Jets fans have their strong opinions on certain players, but I think positionally they'd like it.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, our Jets 360 mock draft. Heading into the 2021 NFL Draft. The NFL Draft is actually just tomorrow, so make sure and stay tuned for all of our coverage